No, what are we doing?
We're going to talk a little baseball.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my best to keep up with the game, man. I'm a little behind. I have been out of action for almost a month now.
I'm sure that there's like hundreds of things that you go, I meant to talk about that, I meant to talk about that, I meant to talk about that, and you didn't. And this kind of gives you a
I
quick.
did. I
quick
honestly didn't mean to talk about anything. I literally laid in bed and like just held on for dear life and barely could pay attention to anything. My brain's been freaking mush, man. It's been horrible.
It's been that bad.
Dude, yeah, like I wasn't eating. I was like wasting away. It was not the funnest thing.
I understand you're going to be coming back on Monday to do your own show.
Yeah, I should as long as I can keep it up to the whole weekend and keep my shit together. I should be able to put together some content and come in. I just want to make sure I'm not coming in and being like derp a derp, like freaking talking and not making much sense, which is the one thing I'm really worried about.
That's sort of what I thought about getting you and I together. One is I just went through my minor league draft and I sort of want to talk about it somewhere. And the second thing is, kind of give you a practice run before you take on your own thing because you've been out of it for 3 weeks now.
God, I appreciate that. Yeah, I had a lot I want to talk about. We had the All-Star game going on. That home run derby was a lot of fun.
Yeah, what do you
So
think
much
of
fun's happened.
what do you think of the home run derby?
Home run derby was amazing. It was really funny because I was watching the pre-show and I was watching Pedro Martinez tell the story about how Vlad Jr. challenged his dad to a home run derby when he was 15 and beat him. And I thought that was pretty cool. And he was like, "Yeah, you'd be surprised. He's my pick to win. He's going to show up and do some things. He'll surprise a lot of people tonight." I didn't take much value in that. It's his godson. Of course, he's going to hype him up. But man, he came out and put on a show, and I was like, man, Pedro knew something that we didn't know.
I actually was the thing I was most impressed with was Cody Bellinger coming up there being down 29, literally having to tie the record, which was just set in order to have any chance of advancing, and he put up 29. It's like but I think overall for me, I found it at a certain point to be a little bit boring. It was just too much. Of
Really?
the same. It was too much of it. It's like we have discussion about like basketball where like I enjoy basketball up to a certain amount, but the truth is like because they're scoring every few seconds, there aren't really a lot of good highlights. And once you start getting a situation where they hit, how many home runs did they hit that night? Like 142 or something.
God, I know. Vlad Jr. hit 91 by himself.
He hit as many. The guy who had the record for the most home runs over a career in the home run derby was Todd Frazier, and he tied him in one night. Yeah, it's like but it was just it got to the point where it's a little bit repetitive. Like it's once you see so many slam dunks, how many more slam dunks do you need to see? And it's like, oh, come on. And I think it went too long. But Guerrero was exciting, and like I said, I actually think that Bellinger's performance was about as impressive as it got. And then because of the weird way it's set up, Alonso wins the thing. And
But that was the only aspect of it I didn't like. I mean, somehow that 91 homers has got to carry some weight in the final total somehow.
I mean, it's happened before. I mean, didn't it's like 2 years ago or something, Stanton hit like 24 in the middle
Josh
round.
Hamilton, the year that he set the record in Yankee Stadium, he
Yeah,
didn't even win that. Justin Morneau won that home run derby, I
and it's
believe.
because you get tired. I think that if it were up to me, the way I do, like we do a home run derby, well, at the place where I used to coach Little League, they do home run derby among the coaches. It's part of a fundraiser thing. And the way they do it is they let everybody bat, right? Like any coach that wants to, and
Sure.
then they take the top four guys and make them pit off against each other. So so you have to be in the top four to advance to the second round. So there isn't any of this weird like, oh, he got a little bit of a break because he only had to hit 11 home runs in the first round because those swings will tire you out. I mean,
Oh, I know. Trust me.
I feel weird. I mean, if I go to a batting cage, I can the third round through I'm tired. It's like yeah. I mean, I'm also 50 years old, but it's like yeah, I took like 45 swings, 40 swings, and
That'll wear you out real quick.
that's enough for me. So there was that part of it. Then It was nice not to have that guy yelling back over and over again, but it went on a little long. Like they got to figure out a way. And I like Chris Berman generally speaking. I just don't like him at that game because if I had to hear back 142 times, I would have put a bullet in my skull. It's like I couldn't, you know what I mean? Dude, if you hear it like twice during a broadcast of a game, it's not that bad. But boy,
I actually watched the Statcast version of the broadcast.
oh, I didn't. I was online when I was watching. I didn't know there was another version out there.
Yeah, they simultaneously did it on ESPN2, and I'm telling you, I love the Statcast broadcast. I think it needs to be something that MLB needs to embrace a little bit more because just the amount of information you get with launch angles and, just the information that's available in Statcast. I, as a baseball nerd, find it very interesting, spin rates and velocity and, route to the ball and defense, etc., things like that. I think that that's something that baseball needs to embrace a little bit more, whether it's with the package in the future, like give you a channel to be able to turn on. It always has that Statcast broadcast, etc., or whatever.
I wonder how popular it would be across the board. I know for someone like you or I, or for most of the people that are listening to this show, or most people that are on the Lenny Melnick network, we would all like it. But I spent a lot of time with. I spend a lot of time in, talking to people who don't play fantasy baseball, but are just sports fans. I spend time in sports bars. And usually when I bring up something that I don't mean to, that's a little bit more of an advanced stat, they're like, so what? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, who cares? It's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know if my friends are the pulse of society or the people I talk to, but it's like, they've been watching the game a certain way for a lot of the time. So, like, to have, like, an alternate channel where you could, have an alternate audio or something, that'd probably work. But I don't know if it has to have its own thing, because I know I've watched a couple of them and I've enjoyed the hell out of all that stuff. Points scored in any round of a tournament don't carry over to the next round. No big deal. That's what Royals. So it's Kevin Hastings in the thing, and so is Lou Landers. Lou Landers came out, so we got a couple people in the chat room. That's kind of nice. Hi guys. I know this is our pop up thing where we do it once in a while. We're probably gonna talk about something that bores most of you when we talk about a minor league draft. But when I did my show, I didn't quite give minor leagues the time that it deserved. But so we're talking about the home run derby. And then you had the All-Star game, and the American League won that, and they gave the MVP to Shane Bieber. And then the next day, yeah, they had to give it to somebody. I really don't like it, but more often than not, they'll, didn't they give it to like Mariano Rivera like his last year round? Didn't they give it to Derek Jeter? Like they set it up because no one really wants it. No one really cares that much to get it. So it's like, let's just do the nice thing. So let's give it to the hometown guy who only got in because somebody got injured. No one will care in 5 years because it's only it's only the All-Star MVP. Who was the All-Star MVP last year? Do you remember? We have a guest.
God damn it, I do know. It was Alex Bregman.
Yeah, you're right. That's that. You're right, it's Bregman, but it's those things that you forget over time because it's an exhibition game. It's not that important, and
I was one of those guys that hated on the fact that it counted, but now that it doesn't count anymore, I kind of miss it counting. Does that make sense?
Well, no, there's something about it that the thing that is diminished, I don't think is diminished by it counting or not counting. I think the problem is there's too many interleague games now, and it's just we don't care. Like when I was a kid, you would sit there and think of things like, what would happen if Steve Carlton pitched to Reggie Jackson, which you never saw? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I hate interleague play. It drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I think we've got to expand the league and get a balanced schedule in both leagues again because I can't handle opening day with the Tigers and the Marlins. It's not appealing to me as a fan.
Yeah, I think that they should. I mean, it's too far to go back from. They should look at the interleague play that's happened and say, like, we like having a couple of these games. So
maybe a weekend a year. You know what I mean? I'm okay with that.
I was thinking like maybe 2-3 game series. You get to play 2 teams. That's it.
That's it. I would be okay with that.
You don't really want to rip away the Mets Yankees game or the Orioles Nationals game or the Cubs Sox
Or
game.
the A's Giants
Yeah, those things.
game.
So let those
You
happen,
know.
and you realize that every other team's got to play somebody. And then maybe give another one because teams might have more than one natural rivalry, and based on that. But then just like 6 games, a special event, and then move on. But what they do nowadays is just crazy. I don't want to see most of those games.
No, I don't either. It's a fucking ridiculous joke to me.
And then the next day at the Atlantic League All Star game, we had the first professional game called by robotic umpires. It's kind of interesting.
I missed this one. Are you serious?
Yep.
How'd it go?
Major League Baseball did that thing before the season where they did a deal with Atlantic League and they said, we're going to give you a lot of equipment for free if you let us do weird tests on your league. It went pretty good. The only thing about it that was weird was there was a delay, and it wasn't as instantaneous as you'd think. The delay was like 3-4 seconds. It's like
Really?
you would find situations where, like the batter, like a batter on ball 4 in the major leagues, like he just knows it's ball 4, so he throws his bat and he starts moving. It's like the batters learn to like linger and wait for the call. We don't know. Like,
So how was the call actually made? Was someone standing behind it and reading it and announcing it, or was the machine itself make noise?
The process was there was this display behind the home plate umpire, believe it or not, that theoretically fans could see, but they shot a Doppler gun at it based on what the strike zone should be. It relayed into a computer, and then that computer relayed that information to the umpire via a headset that was attached to an Apple iPhone. And so the belief is the delay was because of the iPhone. Like if they had something that was a little better. Like there's a lag when we do these things over the internet. But other than that, it went pretty well. The truth is, I was kind of against it because I'm a bit of a purist. But in reality, what they were saying about it is that they're never going to replace the umpires. They're going to augment the umpires because the umpire has to be there because the computer can't tell if the guy checked the swing. The computer can't tell if the ball, tipped the bat. There are things that the guy has to, you know what I mean?
No, there's got to be ways we could put sensors in bats or balls
you'd
or
have to have
something. There's
sensor
got to be.
in every little thing. Yeah, there is a way of doing that, but you're talking about going through. What do they go through? Like 85 balls in a game, and that would be pretty expensive to put all the sensors in there. So, but I think that's the way to go about it. Is like have a computer set up in such a way that it pops into his ear, so that he doesn't get anything wrong, and he can focus on other parts of the game.
My issue with MLB umpires and the reason why they need some kind of check and balance system put in place, they're infallible right now, and they can't be demoted in any way, shape, or form. So they can be the worst umpire in the world, and they're there to stay. They're good to go. I saw someone on Twitter. I saw someone on Twitter complaining even today that there was a rookie umpire was behind the home plate in one of the biggest series of the year and was just making mistake after mistake after mistake, and there's no accountability for it.
I've looked at the numbers. Bloomberg actually paid to buy all the umpire sets. They do go over with all the umpires how they're calling in relation to the strike zone, and generally the average is about 85% correct, which both sounds like a large number of things wrong and a fairly small number of things wrong. But it does mean that basically they get at least one pitch wrong every 2 batters.
That's atrocious.
But
that's absolutely atrocious. In a game that, if you're getting hits, 30% of the time you're considered an all-star. Those are pretty bad margins.
I mean, the best guys are at like 91, 92, and the worst guys are in the low 70s. But the average is around 80. Yeah, it does seem like a lot. But the truth is, it doesn't really affect the game that much. And the ones that they're getting wrong by a little bit. It's like that was a strike when he called it a ball, but it was a strike by, an inch and a half or whatever. He's not off by that much. Or it was a ball and he called it a strike and it was outside by an inch and a half, still hittable.
I know I could think of a guy like Angel Hernandez who consistently sucks, or a guy like, Bach and Bob Davidson who consistently always wants to call these balks. You got these guys with these little idiosyncrasies. They just do these little stupid things, and it becomes acceptable, especially in Major League Baseball, dude. Robot umpires, I've always been for them, dude. Anytime you can correct these stupid guys,